Hello, we're back. DM Gashbad here with another game of Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance. We are on to our fourth game in this series, M3 Safe Zone. So I've done a couple of games in this series by this point. We don't need to belabor this introduction. I've got some campaign-like rules that I'm following. Here I'm going to put those up on the screen right now. I'm tracking the living and dead superheroes, villains, and bystanders that we encounter. Just to keep a running tally, here are the heroes, and here are the bystanders. This is our hero team as before, the Incredible Hulk, Vision, Black Panther, and the Amazing Spider-Man, and we're on to our first medium difficulty mission, and there's kind of a lot to it. And I say good, sometimes these Zombicide missions just feel like different reorderings of fetch quests, but this is not that. In this game, our heroes are trying to set up a safe area. We're going to make a perimeter, and we're going to clear out all the zombies inside there. Game-wise, that means we've got to do two things. We've got to get all the objectives. There are going to be 4 objectives on the board, including a blue and a green one. And we have to kill all the zombies both on the board and in reserve. So that introduces an entirely new mechanic. Once we've got both the red objectives, then every time we kill a model, it doesn't go back in the reserve. It's just removed from the game entirely. Once all the reserve models are gone, then if you draw a spawn card of that type, if there are no models of that type on the board, then you just skip it. You draw a new one. If there are models of that type on the board, then it treats it just like you running out of models, so all the models of that type on the board get an extra activation. Keep in mind this is Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance, so there's not quite as many bad guys as in the 2 big core boxes. There's 30 walkers, 10 runners, and 10 brutes. So we have to get both red objectives and then burn through all 50 of those models. In addition, as far as zombie heroes go, we're only going to have 4 cards in that deck. Under normal circumstances, that wouldn't matter at all, because there's only 4 zombie heroes that come with Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance, but of course I'm incorporating a bunch of the bad guys from the other sets, and one of my rules is that the stacks of bystanders and zombie heroes has to have at least 50% of bad guys that I haven't seen before. So what I did for the zombie heroes was I just shuffled together all of the guys that we've seen, I drew 2 of those, and then I went through the same amount of zombie heroes that I haven't seen and drew 2 random ones from that as well. That does mean that in addition to the zombie heroes that I'm using from the main core box and the X-Men Resistance box, now I'm starting to pull from the Sinister 6 box as well. What else? Each red objective is worth 5 XP to the hero who takes it. The green and blue objectives are a little bit different. Once you get the green objective, then the green spawn point becomes active. Same with the blue objective. There are also bombs. They also give 5 XP to the hero that picks those up, and you can use an action to place it in your zone during a superhero's turn. During the end phase, it'll then blow up, destroying any superheroes, bystanders, or bad guys in that zone. So just an extra crowd control mechanic there. Here's the board all set up and ready to play. We've got that tiny subway station room in the lower left. We've got a smaller building in the lower right. Each of those has 1 objective in them. And then we have a larger building up top. I don't think I really need to mess with the bombs. A bit of a spoiler here, but during the game, I just had trouble trying to anticipate when the bad guys were going to show up. So you plant the bomb on your turn, and then you have to go through the whole zombie turn, and then it blows up at the end phase. But you can never be sure when the zombies are going to get an extra activation or something. So I never felt real comfortable planting a bomb, so I'd rather just not mess with them at all. What I really want to do is find the red objectives as quickly as possible, so that every zombie I kill will just go away and I don't have to deal with it again. Of course, I don't have a whole lot of control over any of that stuff because the blue and green objectives are shuffled in randomly and they're all flipped over, so I don't know which of the 4 objectives the red objectives are versus the blue and green. But I definitely know that after I find both of the red objectives, I'm going to stop looking at these objectives. I don't want to go up an experience level faster than I have to because I don't want to draw more zombies than I can handle with my limited reserves that I have, and I also don't want to activate those additional spawn points. So that was kind of a lot of rules to go over. Let's begin. I think I'm going to start with Hulk. Like I said, I want to get these red objectives as quickly as I can, so I'm going to start with the building in the lower right. Hulk's going to use his first of 3 actions to move over to the right. That puts me in front of the door. He's going to boot it down with that big green foot of his, and we're going to spawn what's inside. We've got 2 spawns in the far right building, 1 of a bystander and 1 of the zombies. We're going to do the zombie one first, of course, because that's the rules, and we get a zombie hero right out of the gate. Not only that, it's Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is fairly tough with 4 health, and she has a special rule that means that she spawns in the zone with a bystander. There are no bystanders on the board yet, so she just goes in that far room, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. Because then we have to spawn a bystander, and we get Abigail Brand. I really want to keep my bystanders alive, but there is nothing I can do about Captain Marvel. I mean, I guess theoretically Vision could move over 2 zones and then take a shot. With an extra power, he'd be rolling 4 dice and he'd have to get all 4 of those as hits to be able to take her out. That seems real unlikely. So what I want to do is rescue Abigail Brand, and that means I'm going to get punched in the process. And the person to take the punches is really going to be Hulk, so I'm going to use his last action to just move into that front room there. And then Spider-Man's going to have to come in and save the day. Spends his first 2 actions to move into that same zone with Hulk, and then uses his special ability, Heroic Rescue. He spends a power and just webs Abigail Brand and brings her into our zone. That means that Captain Marvel can't go and eat her, but it does mean that in the zombie phase, one of my heroes is going to take a hit instead. Spider-Man does have 1 more action, so he's just going to power up, get himself 2 more power. Well, there's not a whole lot that I can do with Vision and Black Panther to help that situation. I'm going to have to let Hulk and Spider-Man deal with it. So I'm going to go over to the left, that lower left building. It's only a single room. It has a bystander and a zombie spawn point in there. I'm going to use Vision to open the door. He's going to move over 1 zone, kick it open. We get something much more reasonable this time. We get 2 walkers. I can deal with that. For our bystander, we get Senator Kelly. That stinker, a new one. Not a great guy, but we'll save him anyway. Vision attacks with the standard solar beam. Kills off both the walkers, saves the senator. That brings us to the bottom of the order, and we get Black Panther. Black Panther's going to move 2 zones, end up in that room. We're going to grab that objective. Unfortunately, it's the blue objective. Gives T'Challa 5 XP, but also activates that blue spawn point. Over to the zombie turn, Captain Marvel rockets in and punches a wound off of Hulk. Good thing Hulk's special ability is that he has 5 health instead of the normal 3, and also, for each wound he's taken, he generates 1 more power at the beginning of each round. So it could be worse. So with no other zombies on the table, we go to the spawn phase. We're going to start at the number 1 spawn zone in the lower right-hand corner. That gives us an extra zombie hero activation. Great. Nice to have that out of the card deck nice and early, because when you're at the blue experience level, nothing happens. Do not need Captain Marvel going into a frenzy and punching more wounds off my guys. The newly activated spawn zone in the bottom middle, the blue one, gives us 2 runners, and then the final spawn zone on the right gives us a single brute rush. So 1 brute spawns and then moves forward 1 zone. Back to the heroes, and everyone gains 1 power, except of course for the Hulk, who gains 2 because he got kind of mad about being punched in the face by Captain Marvel. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with him. Seems like he has something to say about that situation. First action, he powers up, bringing him up to the maximum 4 power, and then he's going to unload all of that power onto Captain Marvel. He's going to attack with Smash with plus 4 dice. That gives him 7 dice, looking for a 4+. Needs to get 4 of these, so really there's only a 50-50 shot at that, and he fails. Captain Marvel takes it on the chin and keeps on coming. That's not great. With only 1 action left, he can't do any effective attacks against her, so he's just going to draw a heroic trait. Gets himself tactical, means that he can spend 1 power and this card to select a zone within range 2 and make all the enemies in there activate and attempt to move towards him. So now we got to go over to Spider-Man. Parker, it's up to you. Gonna power up again, bring me to max power. Gonna attack Captain Marvel again. Same dice as before, 7 dice, looking for 4s. Need 4 of them. Spider-Man gets it. 5 hits on the dice. Nice job, Parker. Gets himself 4 XP, and he goes and rescues Abigail Brand. Brand is one of my favorite bystander cards. Once during your turn, you can spend 1 power and have Abigail bring out her big space laser, automatically eliminating 1 walker or runner within range 1. So that's good. That's 1 big problem we got sorted out. We're going to go over to Vision. Vision's going to move 1 zone over to the right. I'm going to take a shot at that brute creeping down the street. Fires off the solar beam with plus 2 dice. Kills him off. Vision gets an XP. Moves back to the left. For his part, T'Challa goes and rescues Senator Kelly and then moves 2 zones back to the center of the board. I'm going to start getting set up to invade that big building in the north. So in the zombie phase, the 2 runners in the south go and move into T'Challa's zone. He should be able to take care of them. Go to the spawn phase. Lower right gives us a 2 walker rush. The blue spawn zone gives us bystander in danger, so Trish Tilby shows up. Intrepid news reporter, girlfriend of Beast. Normally the bystander would appear and then all walkers within range 1 would immediately activate. The good news is that they don't activate on the blue experience level, so we're okay. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't love where she's at, but, not in any immediate danger. Then finally the right hand spawn zone gives us 4 walkers, and we're back to the good guys. Everyone powers up 1, except for Hulk, who gets 2. And I think I'd rather open up that big building now before any of my guys go into the yellow experience level. Vision's in position, we're going to use him. He's going to open up that door on the upper left. We've got 2 zombie spawn points. We're going to start with the one furthest away from Vision, and we get another bystander in danger. All the bystanders coming out, and not only that, it's another new one. We get Callisto. Leader of the Morlocks, crawled out of the sewers at the wrong time, finds a zombie apocalypse going on up top. I mean, yeah, it's good that it's not more zombies that I have to deal with, but on the other hand, it is another brand new bystander that I have to paint. This deck is 50-50, ones that I've painted and ones that I haven't. Where are all my painted bystanders that I'm drawing? Anyway, second spawn zone in that building gives us another zombie hero. Doctor Strange shows up. Doctor Strange from the Heroes Resistance box is what you might call a bit of a problem. He's only got 3 health, but when he activates, his first activation, if he's not already in the zone with a superhero, is to immediately move to a zone with a superhero, no matter how far away they are. He just opens one of those magic portals and steps through, which means that his second action is always going to be knocking a wound off of one of my guys. That does mean that he's not going to attack any bystanders, which is good because we've got to spawn a whole 2 more. We get Wong in the upper left, and we get Moira McTaggart in the far right. So Vision has 2 more actions, and he's got to do something about Doctor Strange. So I'm going to move up 1 zone for my second action, and then, instead of attacking, I'm going to go and grab that objective in that room. My hope is it's the red one, get 5 XP, get another action, go blow up Doctor Strange, it'll be great. It doesn't quite work out that way. It's the green one. So now we have another active spawn zone on the table. Vision does get his plus 5 XP. It does bring him up to yellow. He does get another action, but now we got 4 spawn zones that are all activating at the yellow experience level, which isn't great. Now we got to worry about additional activation cards. But we are going to still take our shot at Doctor Strange with our 4th final action now that we're up that experience level. Going to attack with an extra 3 dice, spending the 3 power to do so. But the numbers don't come up. I don't get the 3-4 plus hits that I need. Uh-oh, here comes the Sorcerer Supreme. Well, let's go over to Black Panther. Black Panther absolutely has to get rid of these 2 runners in his zone. He's going to spend 1 power to use Hard Slash. Hard Slash is Black Panther's special ability. It reduces the toughness of any zombies in his zone by 1. Doesn't matter for the runners, but it does matter for things like brutes and enemy superheroes. It also gives him rerolls. So he would normally be attacking with 2 dice hitting on a 3+, but he can reroll those. With those rerolls, he easily dispatches the 2 runners. That puts him in the yellow experience level, which is fine. I'm going to draw a heroic trait. Maybe I can find something to save my bacon with Doctor Strange bearing down on Vision up there. I don't. I get the power-up card. I can discard it to make a free power-up action. Doesn't necessarily help me right now. So I'm going to get set up to help out Vision in the next round. I'm going to spend my last 2 actions to move 2 zones to hang out with Vision. All right, well, next, we're going to go over to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to take that objective that he and Hulk are sitting on. I know it's a red objective. Parker gets himself 5 XP. He goes up to yellow experience level. His next action is to go and move out onto the street. Spends a power to have Abigail Brand zap one of the walkers over on the right. Then I'm going to spend 2 more actions to move to the left and then down 1. Spend 1 more power to heroic rescue Trish Tilby. Pulls her into my zone and away from those walkers to her right. Then finally we got the Hulk, who's just kind of lagging behind everyone. I'm going to have him spend all 3 of his actions to just go hang out with Spider-Man. I don't like having my guys isolated. So yeah, zombie turn, and Doctor Strange goes and teleports into the zone with Black Panther and Vision, punches a wound onto the Synthezoid. The rest of the zombies creep along. Callisto and Moira McTaggart move towards Vision and Black Panther. Wong would go into their zone, but he doesn't like his former boss hanging out there now that he's a zombie, so he stays where he is. So over to the spawn phase, and in the lower right, we get another zombie hero. And we get Zombie Green Goblin. Right out of the gate, we get one from the Sinister Six expansion. Green Goblin only has 3 health, but he's got a weird ability. Whenever we draw a rush or extra activation card, all the heroes within 1 zone of him take 1 wound. Kind of a weird edge case kind of scenario, but in the meantime, he's really far away from the rest of my guys. I don't think I have to worry about him anytime too soon, especially since we've already gotten the Zombie Hero activation card out of the deck. Blue Spawn Zone gives us 2 runners. We now have the green spawn zone active in the left-hand side of the board. That gives us 3 walkers and then 2 more walkers to the right. Okay, that's a lot of dead guys on the table right now. What I really need to do is go get that last objective so that as I start killing these guys, they start leaving the table permanently. So I think I want Vision to go get the objective, but I have to have Black Panther go and clear a path for him. So first thing that happens is we've got to get rid of Zombie Doctor Strange. Black Panther activates, goes and uses Hard Slash plus 1 die, rolling 3 dice, looking for a 3+ with a reroll. I only need 2 of them because I reduce Doctor Strange toughness down to 2. Not terribly hard. Black Panther makes it happen. Black Panther's next 2 actions are going to be to move to the center of the table. I'm then going to use Senator Kelly. Senator Kelly's special ability is that he is so obnoxious when he starts giving his holier-than-thou speeches, is that all the zombies nearby come to get him. It's like taunt. I spend a power and I choose a zone within range 2, and those zombies activate and try to come get me. I choose the zone immediately to the right, so those 3 walkers step over and end up in the center of the board, where hopefully Hulk and Spider-Man can go and do something about them. So what needs to happen next is that Vision has to use 3 actions to move all the way over on the right and use his last action to pick up that last objective. It's a red objective. Fantastic. Now when we kill zombies, they're not coming back. Okay, let's have Hulk start earning his paycheck here. First action is to rescue Trish Tilby. It's just getting a little dangerous on the street. I need to start rescuing these civilians. He's then going to move up 1 zone and start smashing zombies. I'm generating lots of power. No reason not to use some of it to attack. Plus 2 dice. I stomp all of them into jelly. Good, finally getting some XP. 27 walkers left to go. Spider-Man's up next. He's going to use Abigail Brand to pick off one of the runners in the zone below ours. I do not want to rush into that zone and end up on a spawn point. That's just going to be too dangerous. So I'm just going to move 1 zone up. Draw a heroic trait. I get focused. I can discard it when I'm attacking to add +1 to my die rolls and also ignore target priority. And then I'm just going to power up. Zombie turn, and all the zombies start closing in on us, including that one runner who gets into Hulk, Spider-Man, and Black Panther's zone. Callisto and Moira McTaggart double back the other way, trying to chase Vision down, and Wong moves down 1 zone. The lower right gives us a 6 walker rush. A lot more guys showing up now that we're all in the yellow. The bottom gives us a 2 brute rush. The left gives us a 3 brute rush, and then we get 1 more brute on the right. Big surge of brutes this round. Gonna have to kill some of those off because it's really risking extra activations. So I'm gonna start with the Hulk. My immediate concern right now is the Green Goblin who's bearing down on me and the runner in my zone. I'm gonna try and take care of both of them at the same time. Hulk is gonna use his tactical card and he's going to choose Green Goblin's zone. So he just roars a challenge, which Norman Osborn is just too egotistical to pass up. He rockets over into Hulk's zone, and now we're going to attack that zone with +3 dice. So we're rolling 6 dice looking for 4 ups. I need 3 of them to kill the goblin. I end up getting 4, which is perfect. I smash Norman Osborn and also that 1 runner. That finally puts Hulk in the yellow, giving him an extra action. He's going to move 1 zone over to the right, use his next action to attack the zone that he's in. 3 dice looking for 4 up, kills the 2 walkers over there. Fantastic, just on a rampage. And finally, he's going to kick open the door to that big building up top. Give Vision another way out. Black Panther's turn, we're going to use Senator Kelly again. This guy's ability is a lot more handy than I thought. We're going to target the zone immediately 1 to the left, and I'm going to draw all those guys into me and Spider-Man's zone. My first 2 actual actions will be to power up twice, and then I'm going to use 1 big attack to try and clear out as many of these guys as I can. I'm going to use Hard Slash and an extra 2 dice, 4 dice, 3+ to hit with 3 rolls. The brutes are down to just 1 health. I managed to kill off 3 of them. I've got 1 more action. I can do 1 more attack with Hard Slash. I kill off 1 walker. A little less than I would have hoped for. Vision's up next. He moves 2 zones back out onto the street. I fire to the right with +2 power, 5 dice, looking for 4s. I managed to get the 2 hits I need to kill off that brute over on the right. I then do the exact same thing over on the left, fire off a solar beam with +2 power, kill off the last 2 walkers threatening Spider-Man and Black Panther. Speaking of Spider-Man, he's next. We're going to use Abigail Brand again to pick off one of the walkers in the zone to the south. Just an efficient use of 1 power, can't pass that up. I'm then going to move 1 zone down and use Focused, an additional 3 dice to attack that zone. That +1 to the dice results gets the job done. I kill off the 2 brutes there as well as the last walker and then spend my last action to move back up to the center. I think that was a pretty efficient turn. I got rid of a lot of the zombies wandering around. It's just walkers left on the table and they all shuffle towards us. Wong and Callisto make it to the street, Moira McTaggart behind them. Then we go on to the spawn phase. It's getting a little more threatening this round. We get 3 runners in the lower right. We get 3 brutes at the bottom. We get another zombie hero. Rhino shows up. Both of our unknown zombie heroes are from the Sinister Six expansion. Rhino has 4 health, and when he enters a zone with superheroes, we roll a die. On a 4+, all the superheroes in that zone take a wound. That kind of hurts. And then for the last spawn, we get a brute activation, so those 3 brutes in the south move up 1 zone. So I think I get a little scared about Rhino's special rules. I'd probably be better off moving away from him or something like that, but I think I'm just a little bit too intimidated and I get a little too gung-ho, and so I'm gonna send Black Panther out to kill him. Black Panther moves one zone, then he goes and rescues Wong, bringing his power up to full. Honestly, though, I've been doing pretty well with Senator Kelly. I'm going to keep his card. Sorry, Wong, your special rules are great, but what can I say? The Senator is just too obnoxious. He's being a real good zombie bait. For my third action, I move into Rhino's zone, and then for my last action, I'm going to attack with Hard Slash and +3 dice. 5 dice hitting on 3+ with reroll. I need to get at least 3 of them because I reduce Rhino's toughness down to 3. T'Challa continues to be a boss. Kills off a zombie Rhino. Nice job. I am, however, just standing on that spawn zone. I'm going to activate Vision next. Vision's going to go and rescue Callisto, brings my power up to full, and now when I attack, I can ignore target priority, which is cool. He then moves to the center of the table and shoots to the zone to the south. I'm going to use +2 power, and I manage to kill off 1 brute. I take 1 more attack with just 3 dice. I do get a little bit lucky and kill off 1 more brute. So not bad, especially in comparison to this. Hulk's going to move 2 zones over. He's going to attack with +2 power. 5 dice looking for 2 4s. Fails to get it. Nice job, Bruce. Going to try it again, this time with 3 dice. Fails again. Come on, Hulk, what's going on? Now Spider-Man has to go and rescue your irradiated bulk. Spends 1 power for heroic rescue, yanks him back out of range of the brute. Then he's just going to go and move 2 zones over to hang out with Black Panther. Kinda realized I left him out to dry there a little bit. Can't have him just standing on the spawn zone. If a rush comes in, he could lose all his health. So I'm gonna double the amount of health that's hanging out there. I still have 2 more actions. I draw a heroic trait. I get dash, which is fantastic. I can spend extra power to move extra zones, and I power up. Zombie turn, all the zombies shuffle forward. Moira McTaggart finally makes it out onto the street, and then we go to the spawn phase. First card is an extra activation for all the runners, which means that those runners that have made it onto the blue spawn zone now move into the zone with a bunch of my heroes in the center. On top of that, we get an extra 2 runners on the blue spawn zone, and then we get a walker activation. All the extra activations coming out now. Hulk and Vision suddenly have a lot of friends in the middle of the board. Then finally over on the right, we get 3 more walkers. Okay, new round, lot of bad guys around my injured heroes. However, Spider-Man and Black Panther weren't hurt sitting on that spawn zone, and we are chipping away at the reserves. We're going to start with Black Panther. Mostly I just want him off that spawn zone. He moves 2 zones over and then uses power up. Going to spend all his power to do a hard slash with +2 dice. He manages to kill a brute and 3 walkers. Nice job, really picking up the pace here. Then he spends 1 more attack, just 1 regular Vibranium Claws attack, and that completely misses. Oh well. Over to Hulk, he's going to spend all his power on his first attack. Manages to kill 3 walkers and 2 runners. All of his dice are hits. Took him a while to get going, but now he's good and mad. With that being a little bit more successful than I expected, I'm going to use my next action to draw a heroic trait. And because I have Trish Tilby with me, I can draw 2 and pick the one I like. I get True Grit and Mighty. I'm going to keep True Grit. That means that I can discard it when enemies move into my zone and perform a free attack. I then use a regular smash action to kill off the last runner, and then I power up. Spider-Man's up next. I'm going to use the dash card with 3 power. So I'm going to sprint all the way down to the middle bottom blue spawn zone. Going to do a regular old acrobatics attack. Managed to kill off both the runners down there. Fantastic job, Parker. Gives me 2 more actions to join everybody in the center of the board. Finally, we have Vision. He's going to move 1 zone over to the right. He's going to zap that right-hand spawn zone with +3 power. He only kills off 1 walker, which is not great, but that does put him into the orange. Orange lets me create a hologram that zombies will go after. It's not really pertinent right now. He goes and rescues Moira McTaggart. She's been waiting patiently, chasing him around this whole time. It's good that he finally picked her up. Her special ability is that I can discard her in order to have a superhero within 1 zone gain 4 power. Of course, in addition to that, Vision gets full power because he just rescued her, and I'm going to use that power immediately to try and kill off all of those walkers to the right. Yeah, 7 dice looking for 4+, manages to kill off the last 2 walkers. Should be good. So guess what? We have completely cleared the table of zombies right now, which is a great place for us to be in. Going straight to the spawn phase, we're going to spawn 4 brutes in the lower right. Well, we would, but we've already killed off 9 brutes, so we only have 1 left. So just 1 brute shows up there and gets an extra activation. The blue spawn zone gets us 7 walkers. The green gives us 3 more brutes. I don't have any, so again, that 1 brute goes and moves 1 more zone over and ends up in the same zone with all those walkers. And then on the far right, we get 3 runners, which is absolutely perfect. That's the last 3 that I had. That means if I can kill off those 3, I don't have to worry about runners anymore. Also, it occurs to me that if 1 more runner had spawned there, they would have immediately activated and killed Vision, which would have been bad. So new hero turn, and I'm going to start with Black Panther. He's going to use Senator Kelly, quite the orator that guy, to advance that big mob of walkers in the single brute up one zone. He's then going to power up twice, move down into that zone, and hard slash with +3 dice, killing off a brute and 2 walkers. That puts him in the orange experience level, and more importantly, kills off that last brute. Don't have to worry about that zombie type anymore. Speaking of problems getting taken off the table, we're then going to go with Vision. He's going to zap over to the right and kill off one runner. He's going to take another action to attack that zone again, killing off the last 2. That's all 10 runners gone. We might be in good shape. Spends his last 2 actions to move into the zone with Black Panther and all those walkers. Hulk moves down one zone and attacks said walkers with +4 dice, kills off 4 of them, puts him in the orange experience level. That lets me do his Thunderclap attack, which affects everyone in the zone. I don't think it's going to be necessary for this game because I think the moment for big mobs is over. There's only 1 walker left. I'll leave that for Spider-Man. I'm going to draw a heroic trait. Of course, with Trish Tilby, I get to draw 2. I'm going to keep Courageous and discard Unstoppable. Courageous allows me to discard this card during my turn, spend any amount of power, and heal that many wounds. Sounds useful, but right now I like keeping Hulk wounded and angry. Finally, we have Spider-Man. He moves one zone into the same place with all his amazing friends. He draws a heroic trait and he gets Ambush, so another walker shows up. I do get to draw another heroic trait and I get Determined. I can discard it and spend a power to get a free attack action. Parker then attacks the zone, kills off the last 2 walkers, and then he just powers up. Again, no more bad guys on the board, and we have gone all the way through the zombie spawn deck. So I shuffle that up, deal myself some new cards. The lower right gives us a new zombie hero. Okay, and now this is actually kind of a weird situation. I'm not sure if the zombie heroes count as being part of the whole reserve rule. It does specify that I only have 4 zombie heroes in the deck, but do they operate the same way as the rest of the zombies? Like, do I keep spawning zombie heroes until I've killed all of them off? I mean, maybe. I guess for the time being, I'm going to shuffle up the 2 zombie heroes that I had killed before I got the 2 red objectives, and I'm going to spawn one of those. And I get Doctor Strange. The spawn zone at the bottom gives us Bystander in Danger again. And we get a new Bystander that I haven't seen before, so I got to paint another one. And we get Betty Ross from the original set. Hey, Hulk, your old girlfriend's here. Over on the left, we get a zombie hero activation. That means Doctor Strange is going to teleport into our zone and punch somebody. However, we do have the True Grit card with Hulk, so I'm going to spend that to immediately get an attack as he moves into our zone. I'm going to spend an extra 2 dice, so I got 5 dice. I'm looking for 3, 4 pluses. Hulk doesn't do it. Doctor Strange is just too tricky with all that magic. So Doctor Strange instead gets to do an attack for his second action, and he's going to put another wound on Hulk. Nice try, Banner. And for the last spawn zone, we get 7 walkers, but I only have 3 left. So we spawn all 3 and they get an activation. Not bad at all. Hero turn, we're going to go back to Hulk. Hulk now has 2 wounds, and so he's generating 3 power around. I'm going to spend all of that. I'm going to get Doctor Strange. Attacks him with all 3 of those dice. This time he can't get away. Squishes him. Hulk is going to move 1 zone down and rescue Betty Ross. She has kind of a good ability. When you're moving, you can spend 1 power to move an extra zone. I'm going to keep her. We don't need to use her ability right now, though. I'm just going to move 1 more zone to end up back with my friends. Next, we're going to go with Vision. Vision's going to move 1 zone up. He's going to power up. He's going to shoot into the zone on the right with an extra 2 dice, looking to just finish this all off. Doesn't happen, though. He only kills 1 walker. 1 more shot, trying to get those last 2. Again, falls a little short, kills off 1 more, leaving 1 zombie walker left. Alright, Black Panther, as always it falls to you. We're going to use your orange ability to get rid of this last guy. We're going to use a Leaping Charge. Leaping Charge lets me spend 1 power to move 2 zones into a zone containing enemies, and then perform 1 free Vibranium Claws attack. That kills off that last guy, nice to use that power. That's it. Walkers, runners, brutes, all dead. I'm going to say the area is secure. Yeah, true, technically, if I wanted to. Zombie Captain Marvel could theoretically spawn again. I'm not sure that's the way the rules work. Even if it did, she would spawn in the first zone, then activate a bunch of times. I got more than enough guys to absorb all those hits, and she would absolutely not survive the counterattacks. I think it'd just be a waste. And plus, I just don't want the same zombie hero to keep showing up over and over again. I think killing him once is enough. So we're going to call the game here. Another mission down, a bunch more zombie heroes that we discovered, a bunch more bystanders that we rescued. Didn't lose anybody. Yeah, the team is making it happen. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, observations, or concerns, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. I'll see you on the next one.